Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium, numerologist, healer, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there is always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here's your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Always figuring out the controls one step at a time. Hello. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. I'm Kelly Brickle, and it's great to see you today. And we are doing the reading show. So, in a little bit, we're going to be taking some readings and just diving into that energy. So, if you have a question, pop it down, pop down your birth date, pop down, if you'd like a card reading or a specific type of reading. That's what we do on the Psychic Hour. We focus more so on psychic readings rather than mediumship ones. I like to bring guests on though, and then we'll have fun with that. Hello, everybody coming in. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Catherine. Hello. So we always talk about the topic of the day, and if people have questions along the way, like with their own experiences or their own spiritual development, whether it's things that they've sensed, they felt, or just questions in general, like what is this? Or what happens when a person's doing that? Or I had a dream. Like we talk about energy here. We talk about energy here. And I know when I first started developing, I would have a lot of really curious dreams or a lot of circumstances happening to me where sometimes, I would be thinking something that a person would say, or I'd have a dream and it would come true the next day. And it could just be mundane things. It wasn't like it was like super like you're going to save the world, but sometimes things are truly poignant and helpful. Don't get me wrong. Like I would always get heads up with dreams about if I could trust people or like the essence of their intentions. It would be sometimes with symbology. So it wouldn't be just here's the situation 100%, but my dreams came to me in a way where it helped me to learn about energy and helped for me to speak that language and hear that language in a different way, because that's what this all is. It's another way of consciousness. It's another way of being. We just have to practice seeing things differently, and we can start to do that through other people's eyes or other people's experiences. And there is consistency here. It's not randomness. There's a consistency of how we can understand spirit, energy, feeling things and knowing things on a different wavelength and level. And it's really exciting because think about in the future, there's going to be a whole nother level of energy understanding, whether, the children of this generation bring it in or 200 years from now, I don't know, but humanity is always evolving with how it understands the universe. So I'm really excited whenever I think about energy and its potential, because it's always just progressive to me. And I know that other people who have heart for this work have already found so many consistencies. So I'm ready for that next kind of mind-blowing, like, wow, we can do that. Wow, that's a capability. Yeah, we can access that, not just dream about it and think about it. So those kind of things get me excited. That's for sure. The topic that I wanted to start with is trusting the process and surrendering. And this is important to talk about from many different angles because, I do posts sometimes with inspiration of kind of, what I've been thinking, dreaming about, feeling, or channeling. And I know I popped on a post and it was about surrendering. And the essence of that really was like, everything is progressing. Our understanding, the world's understanding, our own understanding. So since we're always changing and growing for the better, especially for present, then since we're going to have a different outlook, let's say 5 years from now, we can't possibly always know the best decision in the moment. We do the best that we can. We do the best that we can. And I do feel like that is always good enough. But if we tune our attention to something greater than ourselves, like that greater understanding of consciousness and how the world works beyond just our own views, our own limitations, we're up for a multitude of luck, success, wisdom, inspiration. Like we connect to the infinite because we're tuning into the guidance of not just ourselves, and thus our understanding for that next moment is phenomenally sometimes just what the doctor ordered, and because we can only see so far. And when readers like psychics or mediums or even healers, when they're tuning into your energy, if they're truly in the flow of the session, they're not giving you advice based on their own perspective ever. They're giving you a translation or a description of what something bigger than themselves is streaming through them for your knowledge. Okay. So I'm always in the humbleness of it's okay to not know. It's like, I don't know why I got that always, but it felt right. I don't know what the next step is, but I'm gonna feel into it. And don't get me wrong, like I overthink. It's sometimes that's how I learn about things, to think a lot. Sometimes I really enjoy thinking, or sometimes thinking really does help me. But when I find myself dizzy and repetitive, definitely I know that that's not what's going to get the job done. And we have so many different parts of our body, not our energy even, that are intelligent. Like the stomach's intelligent, the heart's intelligent, not just the brain. And enacting those different parts of what does my gut feel about this person or this situation, or what does my heart really want, desire, or feel. Enacting all those parts helps sometimes get you started to think about things differently, because we want to be just not making decisions on the same old, and the same rules and the same comfortabilities. So if we're using our heart and our stomach, great, that is getting us to a different capacity. But imagine when we start to understand how to work with spirit too on top of it, it starts to get really interesting, because we don't get just knowledge within our neighborhood. We get knowledge outside of our universe, if you can think about it like that. And we can get some really exponentially great growth and experiences, and wonderful people to enter our stratosphere, and ginormous, like I said again, steps in our career or our friendships or relationships, our health even. We have transformation. So part of the trusting and surrendering is you have to trust yourself to a certain degree, because there's a reason why you are where you are, even if you don't know what you're doing. You could do that in the sheer humbleness of it, or you could do it in the sheer, like, I literally don't know anything about what's going on, and I'm really, really scared, and I'm not sure if this is a good idea. But to admit that, you start to understand, like, okay, what is surfacing? Like, what is real? What is real that's coming up in contrast? And you are guided. You are like, I know when I just go, okay, I don't know. I'm open to what's coming. What's coming if I don't try? What's coming if I don't try to put a label on this? Or if I have no expectations? I know that when I put myself in that energy, that suddenly things get way more clear for me. If I, in contrast, go, okay, I know what A, B, and C are. Like let's do this on the flip side of something that sounds really even positive. Like I know what my values are. I know what my morals are. I know what I want out of my life. I know what kind of career. I know what kind of 5-year plan I want. That actually sounds really proactive and productive. And actually, kudos to you if you can answer some of those questions. I know that anytime I've had certainty within my life, I can navigate where I'm going, but there's always surprises along the way. And I'm just like, oh, I got this way, I got to this area because of that. And the in betweens I didn't see necessarily coming. The in betweens I didn't see coming. I was in the ballpark of, but I couldn't plan it all. And sometimes there's things that work out even better than you could have planned. And you really think about your values, your morals, and your essence. And you're like, well, yeah, if I knew that there was another option, I would have chosen the other option because that's actually more congruent to me. So it's important to have all those things. And it's important to, let's say, define our energy a certain way. That's really important because that's what makes us human beings and not just like this connected amorphosis, like, just drifting through the cosmos, like, it doesn't matter, I'm neutral, it doesn't matter, I am one with the universe, I have no wants, I have no desires. It's important to define and self understand. It very much is. But when we let go of that for a moment, we go into alignment even further. I really do feel because we don't hold on. It's important to not to grip too firmly to our identity because our identity is based up on our past and our present and only to our current point of understanding, only society's current point of understanding, only our friends or our family's current point or understanding that we are reflected through. And so, like, people say it all day long in the spiritual community. They're like, if like aliens or universe or god, like if only we could see with their eyes, because oh my goodness, um humans don't get it. We're so crazy, we don't get it. Like I wish things were different. We don't need war, we don't need conflict. If only humans understood. And it's like, I'm on board with those discussions. I really am. So within the same vein of yourself. So, if only you had a bigger understanding. And it really, that's the only way we can do it. We can only control ourselves. And so we have to grow our consciousness. And that's why spirit in the universe and channeling and learning about energy is so practical and effective and important, because we blow our minds out routinely and we go, oh, there's something more. Oh, I don't have to play by those rules. I don't have to see within that pattern. Oh, there's a whole section here that no one ever talks about. And that's the thing too. There's so many people excited about their passions and their gifts. And they look around and they're like, why isn't anyone else excited about this? This is mind-boggling. This is amazing. Like Christopher puts down like clairvoyance, right? Like the aura is real, y'all. The aura is real, and you can see colors and you can see shapes and you can see energy, and that's a whole practice in itself. And when people learn how to see the aura or have the experience, they're like, oh my gosh, it's real. And maybe there's like a piece where you go, is this real? But there comes a time through sheer consistency and intensity where it knocks you over your head and you're just like, oh yeah, seeing auras is it's just a thing, and other people can see it too. And we most of the population doesn't acknowledge that. They'll be like, oh, you have like a kind aura, right? And that's really cool that someone would acknowledge that. I give kudos even to that. But the curiosity necessarily doesn't go further than, oh, like, yeah, you have a vibe to you have good vibes. Where's the enthusiasm within our culture? Where's enthusiasm within ourselves to expand, right? And so if we don't have that curiosity, how can we possibly be so certain of all the things that we're doing if we don't know all, just the gorgeous hanging information just dangling, waiting for us to find that we just go, oh, I don't have time for that. Do we not have time to grow? And as we are still growing, we have to be humble enough to go, might get blasted and my brain might get blown out with a way better answer, a way better understanding than what I currently think even today at any given time. Okay, so I'm gonna say hi to Anne too. Hey Anne, um, thanks for coming on in. She says she's definitely excited for today's topic. It's in an area that I'm currently navigating and working on to grow more comfortable in. So thank you for sharing. Absolutely. And really like the beautiful thing is this is a very open-ended topic. How do we trust? How do we grow in something that we're not quite sure of? Because we can go to school for energy and psychic development and mediumship development. There's schools out there now. Thank goodness. Like, thank goodness. But we're not raised like in school with our math and our science, with, okay, the human body processes emotions and the extension of itself is not just a physical thing you can touch, it has a field. I mean, it's science that we have an electromagnetic field. And there's so much spiritual enmeshment with what that means. But on a scientific level, honestly, we would go into a lot in school of just why we're able to have energetic experiences and why we're even able to feel emotions. Like, think about it. If people know about mentalism or magicians, okay, like they learn about illusion, they learn about the human brain, they learn about um, how human beings have certain behaviors, and they set things up by how they understand the human body and energy and environment to have things to be experienced. And it's in the name of entertainment and wonder, and it's in the name of, mind expansion and awe producing. But like, just from a mental scientific standpoint, we could teach so many people about energy that has nothing to do with psychic mediumship, yet that's not embedded. It's really interesting just to even think about that, because you could not get even airy fairy about what you like. Some people are, how do I explain, this side of life to people that I don't know? And we all have preferences and we all have different needs and how we want to explore our life. But for some people who are really cerebral and into science, you could have a whole discussion about this stuff, about why this is even possible, of why this, with quantum physics and empathy and how the human brain is possible to go into these deep states and to upload information that's not necessarily on the forefront of consciousness. And then we get into the experimental, more esoterical areas, and it's just like, if you want to just understand who you are and understand how energy comes to you, it's a whole journey. It's a whole journey. And there's so many people out here that are interested in this, that there's whole communities now. And I know so many people who don't on the surface really like think much of it, but they're willing to have discussion all day long. They're willing to have the discussion all day long because it's different. No one wants to talk about the same things all the time. They don't. Even if like they're really baffled and confused, they're still very intrigued. As long as you feel good about what you're talking about, people will be intrigued and they'll just be like, why do they care so much? Why do they have so much heart? Or wow, this experience really affected them. There has to be something there that impacted them that is real. Or I'm curious, like, what even is that if I don't even know if it's real? Okay. Everything is opening up, and it's okay if we don't understand, it's okay if we don't agree, but the truth is the truth, and the truth sets all of us free. So as long as we're talking about the heart, um, about what's in our soul or what we've really have experienced or what we really love, that will shake up the pieces that are blocked, or shake up the gray parts, or the misunderstandings, Not always fully, don't get me wrong, but enough where it kind of gets people going, hmm, I know another person now that thinks like that. Or, huh, what a funny way to think about that. Or if they have their own experience too, they're like, oh, I'm not going to just dismiss this. I'm crazy. They're just like, I was just talking to a person and they told me about how this exists and now this is happening to me. What the heck is going on? So it's like imperative for us to talk about this. It's imperative for us to shake things up. It's only like a domino effect, and it's already happening. Thank goodness it's already happening because it's real. Like, it's real that people have psychic mediumship abilities, that they can pick up on energy, that they can heal people, that they can actually enact certain things within the world that puts them in their power and their understanding like never before. Okay. So, hello, Susan. Hello, Alice. Um, Hello, everybody coming on in. We're going to be starting readings in just a couple minutes. So, if you have any questions before we begin, now's the time to pop them down. And that's kind of how we start. We just discuss things that are on the forefront of the dome, off the top of the dome. And yeah, people are in the comments. It was mentioned clairvoyance and orbs. And yeah, not everybody has all these experiences. Like, you don't have to have all these experiences to be a psychic or a medium or a healer, but there's some experiences that will stand out. Like, I've never seen fairies, and some people have seen fairies, and I absolutely believe fairies exist. I've just never seen them. Okay. I've seen orbs. Okay. I haven't seen a lot of orbs in my life, but I've seen orbs. There's some people who orbs find them in every picture, or orbs find them in every room of the house. Like, I've had students and friends where orbs really truly did find them, and it was like in their presence you would see an orb. It was routine. It was, if you spend any amount of time with them, you were probably going to see an orb. It's just certain people attract certain things. And what do you attract, right? It's not because certain people are special. We're all special. It's not because certain people, like, oh, that person's a medium, so they're able to do this. Yeah, it is, but it's not because you don't have anything too. It's like you have your own thing. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own thing with how they work with energy. And it's only because of like energy attracts like. Whether you're opening something in yourself that you've always been, um, a part of you just knows that you love it, or you've already built that up in your energy and the energy finds you because you are it. Okay. Catherine's talking about would love to see fairies, especially that I'm from Ireland. Oh, can I ask you? So, I mean, that's something I hear about a lot, that people from Ireland, they just see them. Like, most people just accept it. They just accept that as part of the culture. Like, fairies exist in other um like woodland or forest spirits of the land. They just exist, and people, even if they're logical, they don't have necessarily the qualms of, oh yeah, that's, it's just part of the culture. So you being from Ireland, Catherine, I'd love to hear about like kind of how you have heard from like families and friends, how they have like accepted like that fairies or fae are just a part of things and not just like a cultural thought, but actually a part of things. I always love hearing feedback on people from Ireland. A lot of people that I know who have been to Ireland or have family in Ireland, they've seen fairies. I have, like I said, haven't it hasn't happened to me yet. Okay. Yes, we all can be vessels to heal. Oh, I love that. Christopher saying, they all can be vessels that are used to heal. However, God is the one who actually is the healer. So for everybody, like, I'm very open minded because we all come from different religions, backgrounds, thoughts, beliefs. and whether you believe it's an intelligence, the universe, whether you believe it is a collective force, or source energy, however you believe. Um, it's just the acknowledgement that there is something greater than ourselves. And when we tap into that, we learn more about ourselves because there's this overwhelming amount of energy, an overwhelmingly amount of creation that's spilled over to even create us. So the potential is quite limitless. Catherine says, yes, Ireland has a lot of stories about fairies. Yeah, I'm always curious. Always curious. I haven't had too many experiences with like investigations. Some people are really proficient with mediumship investigations or psychic investigations with how they commune with land or environments, whether it's somebody who has passed that is interacting with the environment or an energy residue that's present of what did happen there that persists. um, and there are definitely other energies, I believe, with the very few cases I've been a part of where there is energy on the land. And I do feel like the problems that we have with like ghosts and spirits, they're not really much of a thing. It's more so like what's around on the land. And that's another discussion. It's kind of like the energy residue because like with the spirits, you know, their identity, that's just a part of them. It's just one part of them. And our full identity is not always present here. And so it wouldn't completely linger here either. Separate discussion, but that's something I'd like to talk about. There's just parts of ourselves, you know? My soul is so much bigger than Kelly. Your soul is so much bigger than this one life and this identity. That's what I believe. I'm not saying that's the way. I'm not saying that's the be all. It's just we usually go in human form onto the next, and we keep expanding. But we do have, ties to our loved ones, with how they impressed upon our energy, and we have ties to them, and vice versa. And we do stick around if we want to say hi, but we don't actually fully stick. We're not bound to sticking around. We just stick around because we are connected to love, or we're connected to a meaning, or we're connected to something important that we want to share, even with somebody we don't know. There's a meaning, there's a purpose why spirit communication happens. Okay, let's go into readings. Okay, so everybody pop down your birth dates and I can do some numerology. I'll pop down your questions and I'll feel into it whether I just feel or see or I pull a card. That's how I'm going to be reading. Okay. So just come on in if you want a reading. I know more people come on in and start commenting, and people sometimes flood in at once. So there was at the top, I saw somebody at the top. Someone asked for a reading. I'm looking for it. Oh yeah, Alice did. Alice did. All right. She was asking for a card. Thank you, Alice. Yes. I'll start with you, Alice. And then I'll go to Catherine, and then away we'll go from there. And in order to have a reading, remember, you have to pop down. You want a reading. That's how I look at consent and everything. I don't just read people who are in the comments. They have to actually ask for a reading. Okay. All right. I want to go back up to where I can see Alice. I don't know, Alice, if you're still here. If you are, let me know. I'm going to pull whatever comes out. I have one card just like you asked, but I kind of want more cards. I'm not a one card reader. I don't prefer that. Okay. Let's go to the bottom. Okay, so you can watch, for anyone who comes in and wants a reading, sometimes you get read and you can watch it back later, right? So the first card I got for you, Alice, was it's in the vein of you're taking on too much, you're pushing yourself too much. It's almost like sometimes when we stress in life, we go, well, that's just the way it is, right? Just go, I wouldn't prefer it this way. I want something different, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I got responsibilities. I got things going on. And ultimately, it's letting me know that even if so, you're pushing yourself too much. So you can always modify, you can always slow things down. And again, it doesn't have to be a screeching halt, and you still have to get things done, but it can be like slow things or different things where you just go, okay, I do prefer to do it like this. I don't have to do it like that. Whether someone is influencing you or if it's been the way you've always done it, and you're just like, that's just the way I've always done it, even though I don't like it. It's time to not push yourself because the pushing yourself is affecting your health. It is just making you way too stressed. And no one wants to live like that. No one should live like that. So that comes in really strong. And then just going into the future. So it's just addressing again, kind of addressing just the discord coming up. It's never fun to talk about like discord within family, but it makes me feel like there are multiple energies within the family. It could be, your sons, it could be I feel like it's somebody like a generation under you. And there's just discord in them figuring things out and finding their way. And when people are in discord, like within themselves, they're not necessarily the happiest campers to be around. And there can be additional discord, even though, let's say, originally just comes from themselves. And I just feel like there needs to be like time to be tempered to situations. So give things space and time and situations to breathe, as well as putting your foot down when things just get too much. So it's like you have to learn to lead, you have to learn to have the boundaries, but you have to learn to give the space too. And I just feel like there's going to be a time where that kicks up with family and then it goes back to what I said about there's different ways to do things where you don't have to stress yourself too much, and there's different ways to do things where yeah, you won't be giving yourself that extra like health imbalance because you're just like, it's just this way. So with what you're doing with yourself and with family, it really is a time. Alice, this is for you. Okay, Alice, I just pulled some cards for you. So let me know if you can understand this. You're pushing yourself too much, so it's like time to relax. And going forward with some of the issues with family, they're gonna kick up even further, and it's actually really time to step back and know that some of this stuff does not have to do with you, even though it's in your life. And when they're putting their stresses and frustrations on you, to put your foot down, ultimately to give it space, because these things are not coming in fully from you if you can understand that. And I talked about kids and generations under you regarding that. And then the last thing I'll say, Alice, and if you understand this, Alice, just let me know because I see you're back in the room. This is acknowledgement of in the past, like you have realized that you have not spoken up, or you haven't taken charge of situations. Yes, I am. I will be okay. Okay. So you can understand about some certain pushing yourself too much. Okay, so hold on a second. So what I was saying with the let it be known card is it's acknowledgement of you've realized that you haven't spoken up for yourself, or you haven't asserted yourself in the areas that you're like, I'd rather do this, or no means no, or this is ridiculous. So it's about really taking back control of yourself and family. Okay, you can understand this because it's like sometimes there's just a circus around you, and you're just like, I don't know what to do, but they don't know what to do. So they don't know what to do, and you don't know what to do, and it just kicks up the chaos even further. And the chaos is affecting your health. So it's again, the number one message I'm getting for you is take space for yourself and put down your foot when someone is infringing on what you know is wrong, and that will protect you and your energy so you can heal faster and feel stronger and feel more centered within your body. I do feel like the operation is going to go well, but you have to really be diligent on what the doctors are giving you, like within medication or regimen afterwards. So be really strict within yourself and know, like I feel like sometimes you don't want to fuss over yourself. Like you don't want to fuss over yourself, or when something goes wrong, you're just like, okay, we'll figure this out. Just be really, really diligent and really, really take care of yourself and go and be strict on that. And recovery will go really well. Okay, you can understand that, Alice. Good, good, good. So you have to fuss over yourself, and recovery will go well. If you don't fuss over yourself or you don't follow things to a T, I feel like there could be more pain in recovery. That's what's coming up. Okay? So you can avoid letting that happen. You can avoid letting that happen. Uh, it will go swiftly. You're extra diligent. That's what I'm getting. Okay. So that's what's coming in. Thank you for understanding. And let's go to see. Catherine was next, and then I'll do Christopher. Okay. Thank you. And then Alice, you can do the playback too, because there was more said before you came back in about your reading if you're curious about. Okay. Christopher and Catherine. Catherine is first. Okay, you put down your numbers, Catherine. Got it. Okay. So, Catherine, you are an attitude 3, a personal day 8, and you are life path 5, I believe. Let me just double check. Oh, you're a 4. Yep, this is why I double check. It's always fun. 9 plus 1. Yeah, you're a 4. Okay, so we got a life path 4, attitude 3, personal day 8, and you're in a cycle of 2. Okay, so Catherine, whenever I see someone being in a cycle of 2, I always immediately know that this is just a more emotional time. This is a more emotional time throughout the year where it lets you feel things and lets things rise to the surface of what's been on your mind and what's been in your heart. And it's like booming, and sometimes it's like, you know, so out of control, but sometimes in a really positive way that you're just like, you're blurting out how you feel. And you go, oh, yeah, yeah. Wow, I just said that, right? Wow, I just said that. And you go, but that's how I feel. That isn't wrong. And actually, that's very helpful. And so there's situations constantly that all year long where you're going to find yourself more angry, more sad, more effusive, with your emotional self. And it's also an important time if you want to have someone in your corner. I always suggest it for cycle 2s because it's the processing year. Okay. It's important to have someone in your corner, whether it's like a really good friend, family member, or a therapist or a healer to help you move the energy because there's so much coming out. Okay, you can understand this, Catherine. Good. The great thing is if things are being moved within a 2, a lot of times you see for people that they will find a lifelong friend. The doors will open on new relationships, or like even a new fur baby. Okay, so 2 is about emotion and love. So it allows us to move emotion so we can deeper love. We can have more deeper forms of love. And there's usually invitations more to love deeply. And that's why we have these little glimmers of new friends or new understandings with how we can connect to others. So keep your heart open with that intention, or maybe that's already happened this year. I always give somebody a heads up with 2. It allows for good things to come. Okay. You're an attitude 3. So I always like to tell attitude 3s, because this is the way we communicate. When attitude threes are happiest, they are chatterboxes. They are always talking. It's like if a three is comfortable, they can talk for hours. And there's just like this natural, rapport and their laughter, and but it's like excessive because that's what a three is. A three is all about communication. And if you find yourself in those moments with people, whether on a date or whether with friends, etc., that lets you know that like you're in a good energy space with possibly your people going forward, because you feel safe enough to fully express, you feel like open enough to just, let it all hang out. Um and that's your sign where the energy is good. The energy is good. It could be good to help you learn something, help enact something. But if it continually is good around people and you act like that, that means some of these people are your people. You intrinsically are just vibing with them. So know that and understand that. As a life path 4, it lets me know that you are a hard worker. Okay. It lets me know that as long as you put your mind to something and you are in a state of health within yourself, that you get it done. And so ultimately, with the numbers that I'm seeing for you, you're very connected to people. And it's just a matter about, and it's connected the first kind of message, it's just a matter about opening yourself up more with people. And you're gonna, since you naturally have the gift of gab, even though you don't always use it, when you open it for up first rather than waiting for someone else to enact that within you, you will start to know very, very quickly who you like and who you don't like. And and it's not always on first impression that I say that. First impression is great, but when you literally open the floodgates of putting on your charm and understanding the situation, inviting people to talk about, you know, what their interests are, because you're a wealth of knowledge. I can just tell by your chart. Like you're always like kind of researching and understanding things, and you can insert things in conversations. People go like, "How do you know that?" Like, "Oh, I was just reading about that the other day," right? When you put that into the conversation first, like people will surprise you because you often surprise people. And so it's important to know what first impression is. But once we kind of go, oh, that's why I thought that person was stiff. They're actually really cool. It's just, they're kind of like quirky too, and they don't trust people. But now I know that's why they're stiff and they've loosened up. Like, to invite more situations like of that to occur, because I actually think more of your people are around. It's just you got to kind of get the conversation pot brewing a little bit. So that is what I give to you. Don't be afraid to mix it up, get a little awkward, and do the first step. Okay, good. I'm glad you understand that. I'm glad you understand that. Good, good, good. Yeah, like I would say, not everyone is our flavor. Someone could be great. Someone could be the coolest person ever, but not everyone's our flavor. But when we stir up the pot, we go, oh, I thought that person was cool, but like now I think they're really cool. Or, wow, I thought that person was amazing, but now I'm aware of this. Yikes, run, stir up that pot, stir up that pot. Okay. Right. So Christopher is next. Right. Christopher, you mentioned too as well. I was told by a numerologist that my life number is 5. Is that correct? So let me see your birth dates. I think you put it up top, so I'm scrolling. Okay, thank you. Just putting down your birth date. So you're an attitude. You're an attitude 4. You're in a life path. You're at personal day 3, and then you're a life path. Yeah, that's right. You're a life path 5. You were given correct information. And then you're in a cycle of 2 as well. We're in a cycle as 2 as well. And then with Catherine, my mind can bounce around. Spirit lets me know about what I need to talk about. But Catherine, you actually were in a cycle of one. I have no idea why I told, or who did I tell it? I told someone a cycle. No, I told Alice. Um, Alice. No, I did it right because I bounced around. I will figure it out. But yeah, that's what I told. So, Catherine, you're actually in a cycle of one, and this is new beginnings. But we talked about it for a reason. I don't even know if I went into that, but there's a reason why I say everything. Okay, and I always catch the math eventually. I'm not afraid to admit if I've done a different math equation wherever. I'm not afraid to admit it. Okay, so with, let's see, Christopher. So you are definitely in a cycle of two. You're in attitude four. Okay, so everything that I said about becoming more emotionally aware is going on this year for you. So take the messages before, apply that to yourself. There's a reason we go through similar cycles and why there are numerical archetypes in numerology. You being a four, so fours um, in the attitude placement. These are people who always love to have a plan. They want to be organized. They want to be methodical. If you're not enacting that within your life, it lets me know that there's high stress and there's things within your life that is causing you a great deal of worry or sadness, because a four is always regimented in the attitude placement. You are a life path five. I will get to that in a second. But a four always has that somewhere in their life. And if they find themselves scattered all the time, and you would a little bit because you're a five, it lets yourself know, like, hey, okay, I have to do something to bring rhythms into my life, where I have to sleep better, I have to eat better, I have to feel like I'm in control of myself, because that's where I feel like I have my greatest power, when I have a rhythm, when I have consistency. So I want to invite that into your life, because you get things done if you find a beat of that. Okay. You're ultimately a life path five. So this is the energy that you are learning to become and that you have interest in. And as a five, you'll actually want to do things the opposite of a four. You'll actually want to do things the opposite of what I just said, but you do have both numbers and these are a part of you. So it lets me know that you're a multifaceted person, where you like things planned, but at the end of the day, if there's too much planning, like, you'll rip your hair out. Like, you need freedom to do things your own way, and you don't like things to be the same old, same old. You want life to be an adventure. You want life to be unexpected. So ultimately, travel is very, very important to you. It really, really is. It's important that you get out of the house and that you are meeting different people, and that you are honestly changing your careers too, not too stuck in your career. Like, five is all about, I need to change in order to be happy. But the four attitude that I talked about is, you have to have the plan for the change. As long as you go, I'd kind of like to do it like this, and this is my plan. And then along the way, like, you let yourself just kind of chuck the plan, but your mind knows what it wants to do and your energy knows what it wants to do. That's fine. Okay, Christopher, you understand. Cool. As long as you're enacting both, you will be very, very happy. Okay. If you find yourself just kind of, I have no plan, let's have fun, you will actually find yourself, like, entertained for a good amount of time, but then you'll just feel lost. And you'll just be like, well, I don't understand. Like, I was having a good time for a little bit and then it just went womp, womp, womp. And it's because you need both. Okay. And they work opposite. And that's sometimes, like, that can confuse people. They're just like, I do this and I do that. Which way should I go? Well, in your case, you need both, but to enact them at different times. Okay. Uh, I want to acknowledge, with your personal day 3-2, you have a number that pulls people to you. You have the 5 and the 3. And so people will be pulled to you. They feel very comfortable in your presence. They feel very fun in your presence. And as long as you are living a life where you are around people and helping to loosen people up with the way that you help thoughtfully introduce ideas to them, I feel like you're living your life. And, just find a career that fits that. Find a career where you can inspire people, where you're responsible and in charge. Um, but ultimately getting people out of their comfort zones, making them laugh, making them feel warm and appreciated, and you just have a home run wherever you go. Okay. Okay, Christopher, I'm glad you can understand that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you so much. Cool. All right. So I'm going to take Amanda. Alice, you asked about, oh, I don't think you popped down your birthday, Alice. That's why I was like, oh, it's Catherine that I was talking about. You would have to pop down your birth date for me to know your life number. Okay, so Amanda is next. And so you're 319. Okay. Hold on. So Amanda, you are personal day 1. You are an attitude 4. And you are a life path 7, I believe. Let me just double check. 3. Yep, that's right. Yep. And then you are in a cycle of. I love it because Catherine, if you're still in here, so I talked about 2 being the year of love, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're actually in the year of 1. So that thing that I talked about with the new friend, the new relationship, the new or fur baby coming in, that would be next year. So I just want to affirm that with you. Okay. So cycle of everyone is in a cycle of 2 right now. I love it. Okay, we have another we've had multiple attitude 4s. Okay, so it is no mistake why there's common cycles. It's basically the message of really honor your emotions, honor all feelings. Emotions are not positive or negative, they just are. And it's important to have a relationship with what is perceived bad as much as the relationship as welcoming the good. There are tidbits and findings and all that stuff. So dive in and have fun. Treat your emotions like a friend. Have a conversation. Your friend's not going to be in tip-top shape every day, but invite them for tea and see what comes out. Okay. So, okay, cool. Yeah, and Christopher, you can understand that. Looking forward to new dog. That would. Catherine said that. I have 2 C and J names. My brain's going. Woo. Okay, so you can understand that, Catherine. Yes, that's coming up for next year. That's exactly on time. I'm glad you can understand that. Okay, so with where was I? With Amanda. So Amanda, you're life path 7. So when someone's a life path 7, they ultimately want to understand the deeper truth of things. So they want, as they progress within their life, to have a little bit more alone time than the average person. They need to have their own individual time to feel like, okay, I can explore what I want to read. I can explore my thoughts. I can explore my spirituality. I can explore who I am as a person. And I feel like I'm encumbered when I have too much people or responsibilities gnawing at me. So, yes, that's life, but I will carve out that for myself so I can really understand what makes me tick and what other people tick. So 7 is about getting in touch with your spirituality to find the bigger truths and giving yourself time without no distractions to do that. Okay. We talked about this year being a year where you are diving not only to the philosophical things, but also to your past. Okay. So when people are in a cycle 2 like you are, they will deal with the past a lot because it's like, where have I come from? Okay, why am I like this now? And it's really a lot of connectors where you go, this is the first time I've been able to feel this, and this is the first time I've been able to process this on this level. And now I feel like I'm reconnecting who I am and I'm becoming a stronger person. And because of that, you feel more excited and you have more energy to do things, more energy to actually go out and try things and also meet people like friends. Can you understand, like, with this restored energy that you have had this year? Again, it's not always 100% the full year, but bits and pieces, you're just like, I feel more like myself when it's good. I feel more like myself. And so I actually have a zest for life a little bit more. And I'm actually willing to be open to giving people more time and attention because I just feel I'm in a better place. So I'm opening up what I would like to have more of, even though I'm going to prioritize my self-care and my self-time. When I actually go out, I'm going to feel more present and I can give attention to people. Okay, cool. So this year is helping make that happen. Thank you for understanding it. And what I love to talk about sometimes too is like personal day numbers. So you're a personal day one. And a personal day one is how other people see you. It's not necessarily who you are in its entirety, but it's how other people see you. And it's how you learn kind of to be around other people sometimes too, based on the way that they treat you. So you have a personal day one. And being a personal day one, that means that like you walk in and you have a unique approach to things. You have a unique way to think on things. You don't like to be a follower. You like to really stand up for what's real. And because of that, people with the one energy, they vibe and they will listen to you. They feel you as a leader. If something needs to get done, you're the go-to girl if you want to. If you want to sometimes make that happen, like people look to you, like within your friend group, of what you'll do first. Sometimes you're not asking for it. Like I said, this is not your intrinsic personality, but people sometimes will defer to looking your way when decisions are made. If in groups, like, what does Amanda think? What does Amanda think? So the great thing is you can use this to your advantage, that when you actually do have something you want to get off the ground, or if you have something you really do want to rally because you believe in it, people will listen. People are more likely to listen to one. So you have a personal day one number. People are more willing to go, I think we should follow her. I think we should pay attention and lean into that. Okay, you understand this about yourself. Excellent. Lean into that, because as long as you do, you're only going to help. If you part ways, you're only going to help. So continue to figure out what you want to have help in, or who you want to help. And it's going to get you deeper into feeling like, yeah, this is the bigger purpose for life. Let's go with that. All right. So with that said, everybody, maybe I'll pull one card for one more person. Let's see. I'm going to pull maybe one more card for Emily. Emily, you're a personal day seven. So Emily, when people are personal day sevens, they have almost like an introverted quality to the way that they first come across. So if you want to be noticed, or if you want to be included into whatever you're a part of, you have to go to other people to make it happen. Okay. Seven comes off as a little bit more quiet and reserved, and you might not necessarily be that way at all. I'd have to dive into more of your numbers, but always just fire yourself up and approach people and look people in the eye if you really, really feel like it's important that you connect with them, because sevens are perceived as smart and in their heads, and other people don't want to approach them as much as the other numbers, because they're just like, oh, you were thinking, I don't want to bother you. You looked deep within thought. Like you look like you're busy with something important. Okay. So every number gives off a certain vibration and makes people feel a certain way, and people treat us that way because of that. And it's very fascinating just to read just like that. I'm going to pull one card for you, Emily. Let's see what pops out. Okay. The mental energy card popped out, and also the Heartbreak Hotel card popped out. And apparently they all popped out at once. And the mediumship card popped out. So ultimately, it's like you've had interest in developing your mediumship. That's very important. And right now, focus. Really work on meditation, focusing, doing things that are going to actually help ground you. I know that sounds paradoxical, but help ground you so your mind can focus. That's where the issue is right now. Your mind's all over the place. It can't exactly focus some of the things that you have been interested in and wanting to take to the next level. So, I think you've been working with it. The way the card placement is you've been working with it and actually has been going well. So if you can understand that, pop that down. So just continue to work from that space and know that there is an opening of energy. And that's where it's important to go next to really work on balancing your mental focus. And ultimately, like you get a card where basically there is stuff being kicked up from the past, like with like remembrance of a past love, remembrance of kind of, or even dealing with somebody who's difficult that you wanted to date. So there's a card that's letting me know that a former or a current love kind of kicking up a lot of stuff is really helping to take you away from your center with some of these things that you want to develop. So call back your energy, call back what's really important to you. And when someone opens your heart, they will open your mind. When someone messes with your heart, they will mess with your mind. And we want to get your mind clear and grounded. And so push the energies out that are not healthy and really, really prioritize self care and self help and get into your power. Okay. That's what I'm saying to you, Emily. I think you understand that. Um, with that said, everybody, Jessie Cat, you come in. I'll come by next week, Jessie Cat. Come by. Wealth and finance, expand that. All of a sudden I see wealth and finance card for you, Jessie Cat. I gotta go, everybody. I got an appointment in just a moment. I would stay if I could longer, but I'm sending my heart out to you. I will see you next week. On Wednesday, I have Carrie Draper. She's a fantastic Reiki master teacher of various types of Reiki. So we're going to be going into all things healing on the Psychic Hour interview series. That's on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And then we'll be back for the reading show again with free readings Friday as well coming up. So until then, please go with love, luck, light, laughter. Don't forget to live, everybody. See you next week.